and then I'm going to go ahead and put it out to Facebook. Not yet.
They were like, are we live or no?
We are, yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the first edition of the Mo Show Live. Really excited to kick off this new adventure that I've started today. I want to, bring guests on the show that are fun and interesting. They'll be good for everybody to listen to. People can get something out of. And I also want to highlight people and groups that are doing a lot of great work in our community. And that really brings us to our first show. And I want to bring a guest on, and we have some other guests that may be able to join in with us a little bit, really to the table and are doing a lot in our community. And one of the things I thought I would just highlight to start with is that every year, 23 million babies are born with birth defects or prematurely. And over 4 million of these babies will not make it to their 5th birthday. So even in today's world, with so much going on with advanced medicine, we're still having that. So I really think it's important that, people understand what's going on with the health and wellness of babies and how can we make a difference. So that brings us to our first show today, and that is bringing on some folks from the March of Dimes that I've gotten to know over the last couple of years that are from our local chapter here in Alabama that are doing great work. They're great people, and I'm really proud to have them here and introduce everybody to them and do. So right now I have Ashley Toms out of Birmingham. I don't know if Ashley can hear us or not. Oh, there she is. And then I've got Kira Gilbert, also with the March of Dimes out of Birmingham. How are you, Kira?
Hey, good. How are you? And apparently we have a guest.
All right. We have a guest star today. Well, I really appreciate you ladies joining me today. And, I've gotten to know you the last couple of years, and you guys are doing the Alliance work for these babies out there trying to help healthy pregnancies and prevent birth defects and prevent premature babies. When I've talked to people about the March of Dimes, one of the first questions I get is, what is the March of Dimes? What do they do? So I throw that out there. What do you tell people when people say you work for the March of Dimes? What do they do?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Ashley.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry, I couldn't tell. This is so exciting. We work hard to give every baby a fighting chance. We are the champions for babies, and we're the leading nonprofit for pregnancy and baby health. And we are fighting hard to end premature birth defects, and infant mortality. So that's what I say.
Yeah. What do you say, Kara?
Yeah, I would definitely echo that. And then also just tell people that we're working really hard to decrease the rate of prematurity, especially in the state of Alabama. I like to highlight that point and how Alabama is unfortunately still receiving an F on the prematurity birth report card, and how many babies are still born too early in Alabama, and how it's more in the state here than it is nationally. And what can we need your help to get to beat and to get where everybody else is, and to help us get towards our goals.
Yeah. Well, how to, kind of give a little backstory for people that aren't familiar with the March of Dimes. Either one of you wants to jump in first. How did the March of Dimes get its start? What's kind of the history? How did the March of Dimes get involved with helping children?
I think I can jump in first, but history is kind of one of my favorite subjects and favorite things. I think a lot of people know the history of the March of Dimes and know that we've been around for almost 80 years, over 79 years now, and that we were started by President Roosevelt in order to help eradicate polio. And that was kind of the first goal. And my little fun fact that I like to tell people is that the reason why we're now called the March of Dimes is because that was the original fundraiser that he had, that he kind of engaged the whole country to send dimes to the White House. And it was called the March Dimes. And that's why we now have our name. But he was encouraging people to send money to the March of Dimes to help to find a cure for polio. And we're all here, and none of us have polio today because of the March of Dimes. So I think that's kind of my favorite historical piece. And I know Ashley probably has a ton to add to that, but that's always my favorite fact.
I think that hit the nail on the head. So that was great. Yeah.
Any nonprofit, I know one of the big things with a nonprofit, for whatever your goal or mission is here, the mission of the March of Dimes, as I understand it, is now to fight birth defects and premature births. And a big part of that is raising funds. But before we talk about how that interacts and what the March of Dimes does, can you kind of really bring it down to ground level, how the March of Dimes, in addition to the polio vaccine, how the March of Dimes is really connected to people? And I've been at seminars where you guys have, and you bring it to a level, and it's like, start telling how that the research and the things that March of Dimes has done is really connects with people.
Well, I mean, we've made a lot of strides over the years with helping to decrease birth defects and helping more babies get a fighting chance at life, with surfactant therapy and the 17p progesterone injections for women who are at risk of going into preterm labor, who have either already had a premature birth or are just at high risk, and just learning the signs, trying to educate women on how to have the healthiest pregnancies possible. Learning that even over the years, smoking and drinking are not okay while you're pregnant. And I know that may sound like common sense to a lot of us, but apparently it wasn't. And the folic acid campaign was led by the March of Dimes, the prematurity campaign. We have these prematurity research centers for the over 200 of the most brilliant minds in the world really coming together and fighting hard to find out why women go into labor prematurely, and what we can do to stop it. But everybody knows somebody who's connected to premature birth defects, and infant mortality. There's no one who is untouched, and there's no one, or there shouldn't be, who doesn't love babies. And every parent deserves the joy of having a healthy baby. And we fight hard for that. We champion that. And that's how I feel like we really relate to the community. It's a cause that everybody can get behind.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great way to put it. We all, if we've got children, you love your kids, or you've got nieces or nephews or kids that you see around you, when you're around children, it makes your heart smile. Mm-hmm. And when children hurt, you hurt.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. Carrie, you got anything to add to that?
No, I don't think so. I think the only thing I would probably add would be everybody received an APGAR score when they were born, mm-hmm. and that's all because of the March of Dimes as well. I think that's the only thing out of all the wonderful things that Ashley mentioned that kind of that I wanted to add. But
that's a great one.
Yeah, what that brings out though is we're all kind of March of Dimes babies. I mean, mm-hmm. nowadays, if you've been born in the last 40 years, you've had a polio vaccine. If you've been born in the last 20, 30 years, you've had an APGAR score. And, so the March of Dimes, whether people really realize it or not, from what I'm hearing from you guys, really touches all of us.
It does.
I think we focus a lot on those that are mission impacted, like those that do spend time in the NICU, but we forget about those that all of us are mission affected, because we all were babies, we've all had babies. So I think people forget that part, and that's such a large piece of the pie. And the other part is rather small, thankfully, but it still is a lot of babies that are affected. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the news cycle today, a lot of times you hear about the bad side or the tragic stories, but it's great to kind of also let people know that the work this great organization has done has really gone out there now and made a difference. We don't walk around seeing people crippled with polio anymore. And that's thanks in large part to the March of Dimes.
Exactly.
It brings me to the next thing, and which is, now that the March of Dimes has kind of conquered that, and we've kind of touched on it, what is the mission now? What is the current modern day mission of the March of Dimes?
To prevent premature birth defects, and infant mortality. And the number is a lot higher than people realize. We meet people every single day who are mission affected, who don't necessarily go around, and it's not common knowledge, but 1 in 4 women actually experiences loss. That's a lot. And then premature birth is 1 in 9 in Alabama. It's everybody's affected, but that is our modern day pressing mission.
And to meet that mission, so when we say what is the March of Dimes and what do they do, and now how is that put in March of Dimes doing actively now to help try to reach that goal of fighting premature birth and finding cures or research for birth defects? What are you doing with the dollars that you're out trying to fundraise?
They are hard at work, I can promise you. We say that our mission is carried out through CARES because it's easy to remember, the acronym CARES. It covers community programs, anything that organizations want to apply for each year internally. The March of Dimes helps to fund that are going to help move the needle with prematurity. So community programs is the C. A is advocacy. We advocate for mom and baby health, and that's across the state and across the country. R is for research, and I talked about some of our research. We have lots and lots and lots of research. Again, some of the most brilliant minds finding out about different birth defects and how we can prevent them, as well as, of course, prematurity. And that's our leading cause and mission right now, what causes it and how we can prevent it in the future. E for education. We educate women of childbearing age on how to have healthy pregnancies, the steps to having a healthy pregnancy, what to expect when you're expecting, and basically knowing the signs of preterm labor so that you'll know what to do. But we also help educate health professionals with the research that we find and that money helps to fund, and support for families who have a baby in the neonatal intensive care units through our NICU family support program. So the CARES acronym covers your dollars at work across the communities.
Yeah. Carrie, you got anything to add to that? It's a great job, actually.
That is pretty much it in a nutshell. And then, of course, you can go into more detail in specific communities with those community programs that Ashley mentioned, and specifically our NICU support here in Birmingham. We have a great NICU support program. I
don't know if you can see, but I love to share this flyer, which I would love to share with anybody who ever wanted to know. Yeah. But it's just a great flyer.
And actually, one thing we can do is those over. We can put that in the comments to the show. If there's a link to a link on the website that talks about CARES or something like that, that'll kind of give more people kind of a good snapshot of information about the March of Dimes and their mission and what they're doing. And certainly want to be able to, we'll give people access to social media and websites where they can go to find out more about the great work you guys and your organization is doing. Well, what I take away from that is that are on the ground talking to moms and parents about prenatal care, taking boots on the ground with people at the hospital and the NICU, helping where it's needed locally, and talking with doctors. But then you're also doing the back end, which is trying to fund research to try to find out why moms are having babies prematurely and why so many kids are having birth defects. So you're really tackling it from both sides. You're helping those impacted and affected, also be preventative as well.
Agreed.
Well, so I know, the heart of any nonprofit, a lot of times to do the great work we're talking about doing is funding, right? And so, let's talk a little bit about, the ways that the March of Dimes tries to get their message out, and one of the things I think from a nonprofit is you got twofold. You've got a funding part to help do the research and outreach, but you also need to have a way of getting your message out and spreading the message, similar to what we're trying to do today for the March of Dimes. And so I know you guys are in the kind of the middle of one of your biggest, or maybe the biggest fundraising campaign. So why don't you tell me kind of the 3 or 4 things that the March of Dimes does year round to fundraise, and then let's talk a little bit about the March for Babies. That's kind of, we're right in the mid-season for that.
Yeah,
Kira,
I mean, of course absolutely. Our largest, as you alluded to, Morris, is our March for Babies campaign. And as many of you, I guess we hope know, is that the Madison County March and Run for Babies is this Saturday at UAH Charger Park. And March for Babies is our largest campaign nationally, and it happens in about 500 communities across the country. And in the state of Alabama, we have 8 March for Babies events that will be taking place, mostly between April and June. And then we have one small community walk in a smaller community in Sylacauga, Alabama this fall. But it raises many, many dollars across the state and across the country. Ashley, do you recall the number that it raised in 2016 nationally?
Oh, nationally?
No, we know more. I know we know in Alabama, but.
Yeah, I think nationally it was around 90 million that March for Babies brings in. It's a lot. It's a big, big part of our annual campaign.
And I think my favorite thing about March for Babies is that it encompasses all of our communities, anybody across communities, families, organizations, companies. Anybody can be involved. There is a suggested donation to participate, but we reach anybody with the March for Babies campaign, which might be a little bit different to some of our campaigns that we do that are more specialized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so when we say March for Babies, let's drill down even more. What is it? Tell me, if you come to a March for Babies event, for example, I know the event, and I know you guys in Birmingham have your big event, I think next weekend coming up. But when you show up, what can somebody expect to see when they show up?
Well, we hope that it's really mission driven. We just want moms, babies, and families to really come out and feel sort of a celebration for babies, if you will, a celebration for babies and families. But we are really integrating this year even more our theme of Hope, Remember, Celebrate, and all of what that means to driving our mission home within the communities, and really a hope for one day when all babies are born healthy, and remember our angel babies who've gone on, who we will always walk for and never forget, and also to celebrate our NICU graduates and our healthy babies, so that every single person who's there can just feel a part of our mission and see all the different ways that we touch the community and touch families every single day.
Yeah.
And so we have different ways. Sorry, I didn't really go into it, but it's a big celebration, and it's just a fun time. We're going to have a lei ceremony. We have different colored leis, purple, white, and lavender, and Kira, you can probably speak to this even more since you have already done the Tuscaloosa event. Do you want to talk a little bit about our event experience this year?
Yeah, I think that something great we're doing. I mean, before, when you came to a March for Babies, you would totally see our mission across the board, no matter what. But I think this year, as a program, as March for Babies as a program nationally, has done a really good job with this new event experience. And Ashley alluded to the lei ceremony, and we're really honoring those parents that have experienced prematurity or loss during this ceremony. And it's really, as mentioned, was bringing the mission forward. It was really touching to see it. We've had one March for Babies event in Tuscaloosa 2 weeks ago, and it was really, we brought up the ambassador family. They're the one that did the lei ceremony. They presented the leis to all the families who had lost. And even though maybe some people, as Ashley mentioned earlier, don't want to recognize or let people know that they've lost, it was a touching part of that ceremony to know that people are coming forward and are sharing their story about that. And it was really touching for the whole community to see that, I think. And then to also know how many people had to raise their hand to say that they needed a purple or a lavender lei if they were touched by prematurity. So that really brings it forward, and being able to plant a butterfly in our memory garden for those babies that have gone on. And I mean, there's just various and sundry things for all three of those aspects. And I think, I mean, outside of the fact that you do walk to remember and walk to give hope, like there is that walk piece that it's more like a celebration and a festival, in addition to a 5K or just a walk.
And our superhero
Right.
sprint, which is really exciting this year. So all the kids up to age 10 can get a purple cape and participate in the superhero sprint, which is just for kids only, which is so awesome and exciting. So lots of cool things to look forward to at the upcoming events.
Well, that's great, and just how you're incorporating the whole concept of what you're trying to, your mission of honoring those that have lost, honoring those that it's amazing to see the pictures that when I've been at some of the events and how little some of these premature babies were and how they're doing great now, and trying to incorporate all of that in one thing is tough, but really really cool to do.
Agreed.
And so at these events, who participates? Who can participate? Is this something just for people who've had a loss? You got other people around the country that are watching this and recording. Can their company participate? Can it be just an individual? Talk to us a little bit about how people actually get involved to do. Do they have to sign up? What do they need to do? Talk to us a little bit about the nuts and bolts of it.
They don't have to sign up ahead of time. It's great to go ahead and do that. You can easily sign up at marchforbabies.org, and you can walk as an individual. You can help raise funds as an individual, or you can start a team. You can join a team. You can walk with your company. You can walk with your family and friends. Whatever you want to do, you come up with a cool name. You can have cool team t-shirts and just let everybody know you're walking as a team. Or again, you can just come out yourself and just show up and show your support. You don't have to sign up in advance, and there's not a designated fee to participate. We just obviously welcome any size donations that are possible. And you can also sign up that morning and give. There will be a registration tent where you can also turn in any cash checks or any money orders, things like that you get that you may have had on hand that you want to turn in that morning. You can turn them in at Bank Day. We have a Bank Day coming up actually on Thursday for Huntsville. And Bank Day, we have them usually the Thursday before the walk in most cities, where you can turn in any cash and checks. And you can also pick up your incentive T-shirts for anybody that's raised $100 or more, your purple capes for your kids, things like that. So it's just an exciting time to turn in any offline donations that you may have received. But people can know that they can always just come and show up and turn it in at the walk if they want to.
Great. Well, I'm, as you guys know, in Huntsville, and what I tell people is, I'd love for you to sign up, but if you can't sign up, show up and, bring your sneakers and get ready to walk and have a good time and celebrate these babies.
Amen to that.
Yeah. And I'm not an accountant, but any donation is tax free. There's a tax deduction for that. So that's just an important point to know. If you're looking, with tax day being yesterday, where maybe everybody's kind of looking at an eye of, hey, where can I, my accountant or CPA said maybe I need to find a good place that I could make some donations to that touches my heart. And you guys are certainly a great place for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, talk a little bit about how people can find you guys online. Where can they find more information about maybe the national chapter? If somebody's watching us recording or live in Texas or California and they want to get involved in a local event there, and then here, in Sweet Home, Alabama, how can they get involved to find out, about a local event?
Yeah, I think that our best resource is definitely our website, marchofdimes.org, our main website. That's a national website, and then you can search locally through that website to find different pieces, different events. And as Ashley mentioned earlier, we have marchforbabies.org, which specifically for March for Babies time of year, that's like your resource for everything. And you can search through your zip code, through your city, through anything of that nature to find what's closest to you. But then the main website would be more like any events that go on throughout the year, if we want to talk about any of the fall events or anything later. But I think locally too, one of our best resources is our social media. And we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And it's just March of Dimes AL. It's actually MOD Alabama if you're searching on Facebook, and then March of Dimes AL on Twitter and Instagram. But we try to update. We have some national posts that we do to share information across the foundation when it's something related to research or a national campaign or a national partner like Publix or Kmart or Famous Footwear. We always are highlighting local families, highlighting local events, we're doing a big thing right now, thanks to a good team effort. Some of our highlights throughout the week are our Top Walker Tuesday, which I know, Morris, you can talk a little bit more about. And then we have Family Teams Friday, where we like to highlight our family teams. And we're also doing Transformation Tuesday and Throwback Thursday to really highlight how far babies have come, whether they were born prematurely, how prematurely they were born, and kind of where they are now. And so it's really exciting. Those are getting a lot of attention, especially on Instagram. So we're really excited about those pieces.
Yeah, and I highly encourage everybody. It's fun for me as somebody who's been involved in the last couple of years with the March of Dimes I'm in North Alabama, but following the national online, the national chapter, and then following the local. It's great for me to interact and see what other family teams are doing, then hearing about their stories, clicking on their links, reading their bios and stuff. It's really inspiring, and it's cool to know and see. And then I show up at the local walk, and it's kind of like how we all get to know and see people through social media, but you get to do it from their eyes from the March of Dimes. So I encourage everybody. It's like anything else with social media. Fly over there, like it, share it, tweet it, whatever, and pick your social media platform here I mentioned, but follow it and check it out. And I think you'll get a flavor by when you start logging into your account, seeing what's going on, how people are impacted by premature birth, and it really gives you an idea of the importance of the March of Dimes. So, and I would mention too that I had the privilege a couple of weeks ago speaking at the North Alabama kickoff meeting for Publix, and they're really a great organization. So, they've really been aligned, partner with the March of Dimes in the last several years. So, for folks that are watching out there live or watching recorded, if you go into your local Publix and if you want to help and you feel moved to do so, and you can't show up to walk, you can't do when the cashier asks you, could you give a donation? Please do. Hey, give $1, give $5. When people start coming through the line and start donating like that, that really makes a difference to the efforts that the March of Dimes is trying to do and what they're trying to raise money for.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to end on highlighting the upcoming walks, just so we can give everybody information. Unfortunately, Jennifer couldn't be here for our meeting now. Jennifer Roberts, who I've been working with in Huntsville, does a great job. But our walk here in Huntsville is this Saturday at UAH, University of Alabama in Huntsville, at Charger Park. I think it's kind of, people start showing up at 8. I think registration starts at 8. They'll probably start off with some announcements at 8:30, and then the walk and 5K run will start at 9. It's a great event, guys. Personally involved this is my 5th year. My family team, Team Will, just loves it. And it's just been very therapeutic for us to do this and get involved with this. So I highly encourage you to do that. So please come. If you're in the Huntsville area, check it out. Come. Again, you can sign up ahead of time, make a donation. But again, show up. And if you want to help, one other way of helping is just liking and sharing this video and commenting so other people, so the message can get out. I hate to dominate the conversation, but I tell you what I've been moved by is by sharing our story. I've had people come in and make donations or comments or send me private messages that were just casual acquaintances of mine that I had no idea had been touched in similar ways that we had in common. And so by sharing and liking these things, you can make a difference even if you're not able to make a financial contribution. But let me throw this back to you guys to talk about the Birmingham event that's coming up.
We're so excited about it too. It's coming up on the last Saturday of this month, April 29th. And it's going to be at Uptown, which is by the BJCC and across from all the fun restaurants and the Westin Hotel in the Uptown Entertainment District of Birmingham. We are anticipating around 3,000 to 4,000 people. It's a really great event, and lots and lots of community members involved, and people even travel. We have the UAB NICU reunion for anybody whose baby had to spend time in the UAB hospital. It's the largest NICU, actually single room in the country, meaning that families that can come there get a private room with their baby, which is a really big deal. So it's a big deal, and they always have their NICU reunion, and lots of people travel from really kind of all over the Southeast region to come in and walk with their doctors and nurses who really helped their family out during a very hard time. So we're looking forward to it, and it also starts at 8. We'll have everybody, tons of tents. I think we're anticipating about 30 tents that are going to be out for different companies and teams, and Kids Zone, and bounce houses, and of course the Hope, Remember, Celebrate areas, the superhero sprint for the kids, and we're also having some national folks come down to do some videos and photos of a local family that we can use nationally, and we're so thrilled about that. So we're like, awesome. Everybody needs to come out and support, because we need to really show up and show out for some national media efforts, because this is kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity. So if you're around the Birmingham area and would like to, we would love to have you come out to Uptown on April 29th.
And we have the DeKalb County Fort Payne Walk on that same day as well, in Alabama, and then followed by the following Saturday, which would be May 6th, is South Alabama in Mobile, at the USA Women and Children's Hospital down there at Jerry Moulton Park. And then on the following weekend, we'll be at the Opelika Municipal Park for the East Alabama March for Babies. And then we have a little bit of a break before our Central Alabama Montgomery March for Babies, which is the first weekend of June.
Lots of marching for babies.
Well, put your sneakers on and go out and participate is what I tell people. It's a great effort. It's a great cause. And, if you've been touched by what you've heard today and you want to get involved, there are just so many ways you can do it. And you can do it by making a donation online. You can do it by liking and sharing posts, by following people on social media, by starting your own family team, or starting a team at your work, or finding a family team to jump in. I tell you, if you're in the Huntsville area, put on a green T-shirt. That's the team colors this year, and come walk with us this Saturday. We'd love to have you. But I just really want to thank you guys so much for joining me for the last 35 minutes. It's just been a privilege and an honor, and I'm really excited to kick this venture off, and I couldn't think of anybody better to kick it off with than you guys. So everybody, again, please like and share this video so we can get the word out for the March of Dimes. We'll put in the comments below links to the national page and the state page, so you can find that real easily, and you can just plug in your area code and find out your local event so you can participate. Again, Kara, Ashley, thanks so much.
Thank you, Morris. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye. You too.
Bye.